Hello there, my friends. Slightly different video because of the simple case that, well, life got away from me. October is just a busy month in general for me, and so instead I'm going to end up making a rather short video this time, but that way then you actually have something. Let's talk about some Halloween concepts, shall we? Because, oh my goodness, Halloween in D&D time, perfect. Horror one-shots, great. Let's have some fun talking about it, because there's lots of cool things in D&D that we can just implement into our horror games. Whether it being the case that we end up using the atmosphere, we end up having some cool music going on, some spooky candles, all of that stuff, lighting up the room, bringing in that atmosphere to get you into the spooky mood. If you really want some fun, find a great horror playlist on YouTube, get it playing, mix it up when you end up changing from locations to combat to monsters. All of that stuff should each have their own unique vibe of music going on to really help bring it all together. Find reoccurring motifs. Establish a music for your monster. Play it a little bit earlier on when you're hinting at what it could be, when you're having an incident that is related to the monster but you're not revealing the monster, and then when you end up having the monster show up, you play it again. Now, let's get into some actual fun details that you can implement. So, first of all, main thing when you're coming up with your horror one-shots is first establish your location, then establish your plot, then establish your monster. Once you know those three, establishing a horror one-shot is really easy. First of all, location. Where are you going to be basing it? Is it going to be in the material plane? If so, what's it going to be like? Are you talking about a horror story going on in a city? Are you talking about a horror story that's going on in the woods? Is it going to be out in the middle of the ocean? There are so many fun things that could be done throughout all of that. If you're in a city, could it end up being a bit more of a classic slasher horror villain trope going on? Is someone going around killing innocents and it is up to the D&D party to try and stop them? Is it going to be a cabin in the woods vibe going on? Is your party going to, stumble upon an empty keep? Why is it empty? What happened here? Why now are all of the previous corpses beginning to get up and now they're chasing us and they're stronger than normal zombies? What's going on? And then if you're in the middle of the ocean, as someone with thalassophobia, the ocean is terrifying. As a concept. And that's our ocean. What happens when you end up having things like dragon turtles and leviathans and krakens going on? Yeah, unpleasant. Unpleasant is what I'd have to say about that whole scenario. So yeah, in terms of horror, great for it. Now we've ended up talking about material. Let's get into the extra plane art because there's some real fun locations. Starting off with a bit more attached, going immediately from the material plane to the Underdark, a location in the material plane, but it's kind of its own thing. Tunnels abound, it's dark, it's dingy, it's grimy, there's just a constant dripping noise going on into the ever-cascading caverns of the Underdark. It's an amazing location, filled with drow, spiders, myconids. Kuatoa are just causing rituals everywhere because that's kind of their thing. The drow are messy in terms of creatures because Wizards has updated them, but if you see into their old lore, oh boy, yeah, that's a whole thing. And then myconids, you're not really sure what you're going to get. Depends really on whoever is the host of the entity of the spore hive for the myconids. It's case-by-case dependent, but all three of those alone could be great horror concepts in the, here's a group that doesn't like us. Then you end up getting just a little bit lower than the Underdark. The Abyss, which is the home of the Demon Lords. Oh boy, each one of them could be an entire campaign's worth of a villain. So creating locations and stories around each and every one of those Demon Lords could be a whole thing. Jubilex is slime galore. The Demogorgon, amazing, chaos incarnate. It creates split personality. It's the embodiment of chaos, rip, tear, but plot, plan, subterfuge. Put them together and, oh boy, look into it. I swear you'll have some fun with it. But stepping away from the Abyss, let's talk now about something a little bit different. The Nine Hells, because where there are demons, there are devils. The Blood War has been going on for forever, and the opposite side of those trenches is the Nine Hells. Each layer is its own particular type of horror which works beautifully. So having a session where your characters are forced into that location, yeah, that's pretty fun. Pretty fun from a DM's perspective, not so fun from a player's perspective, but let's not think about that bit so much. Devils are unique in that where a demon will end up beating your party members to a pulp, a devil will do the same, but they're going to have a little contract and fine wording about it beforehand. And yeah, knowing these creatures is important because, yeah, you can know your location, but knowing what creatures you're going up with, very important. And so we're going to step away from the locations, but before we do, another quick final runoff, right? The Feywild. Feywild, messed up. It's beautiful, intrinsic. It's so many different layers stacked upon each other that you could easily make a horror setting from it. Then you end up taking a step out and you go out from the material plane, Shadowfell, Feywild. Oh yeah, Shadowfell, that's a thing. Vampires, Gothic aplenty. Perfect for your horror settings. You start getting into the elemental planes, right? Earth, wind, fire, water being trapped in any of those locations. Oh boy, that's not great. Now what? I got a question for you. How bad would it be when you end up taking all of those core concepts, and what happens if you find out what's living in them? And what happens when it knows about you? Just let your mind run through it. Yeah, perfect location setting. And then finally you get into the outer planes, which are all the domains of different gods. And some of them are terrifying. Imagine for a minute what Umberlee's plane would be. For those of you who don't know who Umberlee is, please look her up. She is the god of the oceans, and she's an asshole. Now, locations, roughly covered. There's so many that I'd love to talk about. We'll probably get into them over the coming year, but let's talk about now your plot, your thought process, all of that stuff. Main thing for figuring out your horror one-shots. Story, what's going on? What type of horror are you wanting to implement? Is this going to be a classic slasher thriller? Is this going to be eldritch horror beyond the stars and beyond comprehension? Is it going to be body horror? Is it going to be transmutation, transfiguration, horrific abstraction in just so many different ways? Because every single horror type has its own important subset of rules that need to be going on. If it's going to be body horror, it's going to be the taking away of priority from the players and the horrors that go on from that. If it's going to be slasher, it's the slow approach, constantly relentless. No matter what your party does, they just keep coming. They could be throwing 9th level spells, and to make that monster terrifying, it shrugs it off and just keeps pursuing. If it's eldritch, oh boy, it's all about the incomprehensible, and to describe it is impossible. And so you have to put across that while you are trying to describe what your party is seeing, to even quantify it is to try to describe the face of God. Impossible, regardless of your religious affiliation. It's an impossible task, and you as a DM are trying, but it's impossible. People go mad viewing the faces of eldritch beings. To quantify their plans is nigh impossible. To understand what is going on is to dabble in insanity. It's rituals in the middle of the night. It's candle-lit wakes and vigils. Stories passed through books that are only whispers in the wind. The eldritch, personally one of my all-time favorites, can you tell, is just incredible and a great setting for your horror because it's so easy to come up with a story around a monster and then just sort of weave in those little things. And it just works really fun because the monster in an eldritch story doesn't even recognize it's the monster. Not in a, like, I must do bad things, but, you know, it's for the right good. It's I'm walking and everyone around me is screaming and dying and blaming me. And I don't even recognize them because as far as I'm concerned, from my perspective, it's the ants. It's not even the ants. It's the grains of sand beneath my feet are screaming, why? I gotta walk. And finally, monsters. Monsters for D&D are so many, as we already know. Monster Manual is huge. Quick recommendation, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes works great for a lovely range of really good monsters. And also, something Ravenloft. There's Curse of Strahd, right? But then there's the sub-extension. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's, something Monsters of Ravenloft. It's a whole horror book, which just so many things. So many beautiful monsters exist in that book. And the key thing for thinking about monsters in your horror setting is once you know what type of story you want to tell, depending on what horror theme you are going with, it's kind of easy because figuring out a monster to fit that mold is very easy. There's lots of different choices to choose from. So as a quick example, if you're wanting a slasher, you can just make a really powerful character. You just go ham. Make the character you've always wanted and make them a monster for combat. Make them a level 10 adventurer with grappler and just great weapon master. Make them a nigh unstoppable force and give them some legendary actions. Really fun way to end up making a slasher monster for your games. If you're wanting body horror, there are entities that are all about corruption and just so many different types of icky ways to end up really messing with your party, including parasites that get into the person. There are creatures that literally rip people apart. I mean, mind flayers alone, the way that the tadpole infection works. I'm sure we've all seen the E3 trailer to Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, that's rough. And then Eldritch, take your pick. But my favorite all-time monster for this, I believe, is called the Nightwalker. It's horrific. Just an aura of death in its wake. It doesn't care about the material plane because it wants everything to be destroyed because it's from a place known as the negative energy space. It is literally an eldritch abomination of unquantifiable proportions. It's a CR21 monster. I recommend checking it out. And really the important thing is if you want to find monsters to really help you figure out what games you want to play, just Google it. Search up the best horror monsters, type in what type of horror thing you are wanting, and you will find some great Google recommendations. I could spend hours going through and listing the best monsters for every location. Maybe in the coming years I might end up doing something like that, but we're going to see. That's quite a ways off, and this video is already going on and I don't have long to do it because I am recording this on the day that I'm posting it. So if you ended up liking this thing, please do give this channel a subscribe, please give this video a like, and please do just check out my stuff in the future. I've got a TikTok as well. All of this stuff is under the Casual DM. I hope you have a good one, my friends. I hope you ended up liking this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please do write it down in the comments. If you're going to try out any of this stuff, please do write that down in the comments as well. And in the meantime, my friends, I hope you have a good one. I'll see you all again soon for the next video where we actually get back onto the D&D core pillars. We're going through a bit of restructuring, going through a bit of rebranding, trying things out, seeing what works at the moment. So I hope you have a good one. I'll see you again soon. Until the next time, bye-bye.